Today is Thursday, June 3rd. We'll tell you how the White House is hoping to inspire more Americans to roll up their sleeves and get their vaccines. From free childcare to free beer, there are lots of new incentives. Also, Israel's leader is close to being knocked out of power. A fragile deal could shake up the country's powerful government. Plus, which planet is next on NASA's radar, how AMC is giving back to small-time investors, and a new era for college basketball. Another legend decided to step down. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in about 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Lacey Evans, filling in for Erica Mandy during her maternity leave. You ready? Let's do this. The White House is looking for new ways to inspire Americans to get their COVID-19 shots this month. President Biden still has a goal of getting 70% of American adults at least partially vaccinated by the 4th of July. But as of this morning, that goal is still coming up a little short. About 63% of American adults have gotten shots so far. So the Biden administration is now calling for a month of action to bring that number higher. It includes quite a few incentives. For example, President Biden announced partnerships with early childhood centers like KinderCare, Learning Care Group, YMCA, and Bright Horizons. They'll now offer free childcare for parents who need help while they're getting their shots or while they're recovering from potential side effects. Biden also announced a partnership with more than 1,000 Black-owned barbershops and beauty salons. Some will now offer vaccine education, and others will even have doses available. Then, there will also be extended hours at thousands of pharmacies, including CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. They'll stay open late every Friday this month, in case there are people who can't make the regular business hours work for them. The White House is also increasing vaccine outreach on college campuses, and new vaccine education segments will air on local TV and radio stations. And that's just to name a few of the new initiatives. Anheuser-Busch is giving away free beer to the first 200,000 vaccinated people who apply. The MLB is offering free tickets to people who get vaccinated at certain stadiums. Uber and Lyft are offering free rides to and from vaccination sites, and more. Lately, on average, about 1.2 million Americans are getting COVID-19 shots each day. That's down from a peak of 3.4 million a day back in April. The world is getting some insight into how the nation's top infectious disease expert has been handling the pandemic. Thousands of pages of Dr. Anthony Fauci's emails were published by news outlets like BuzzFeed and The Washington Post this week. They were sent from January to June of 2020, when the pandemic was first overwhelming American households and hospitals. In them, you can see Dr. Fauci each day answering dozens of questions from team members, doctors, old friends, reporters, producers, and even sometimes total strangers. He would agree to do interviews, advise doctors on how to treat suspected COVID-19 patients, and talk to fearful people about what experts did or didn't know at the time. Sometimes he mentioned his intense workload. Fauci also made it clear he wasn't comfortable with people's fascination with him. Some of the emails have also sparked some backlash, though. For example, there was one email from a member of the World Health Organization team that's been investigating the origins of the coronavirus. He thanked Dr. Fauci for publicly explaining that COVID-19 likely came from an animal, not a lab leak. Well, now some Republicans think that's evidence Fauci worked to cover up a controversy. A handful of other emails are also grabbing critics' attention. In January and February, Dr. Fauci was telling people not to worry about wearing masks. However, Fauci's advice changed in April when the CDC updated its guidance to recommend masks for everyone. Either way, there are now people using that contradiction against him, some even writing #FireFauci on social media. But others are defending Fauci, saying he adapted to the scientific evidence as it became available. So far, no official comment from the White House, and Dr. Fauci is still President Biden's chief medical advisor for COVID-19. The longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history could be on his way out. Benjamin Netanyahu's Israeli opponents, from the left to the far right, announced they reached a deal to form a new government there. Remember, Israel's fourth election in 2 years ended in a stalemate. So 8 different political parties worked together to push Netanyahu out, even though they don't agree on a whole lot else. The agreement still needs to be approved by the Israeli parliament. That vote is expected to happen early next week. If it goes through, 2 leaders will split the prime minister job for the next term. Each one will serve 2 years. TBD if this new alliance lasts, though. Some analysts say its members are too incompatible, but others say their differences work to reflect the complexity of modern society. So far, Netanyahu hasn't commented on the new deal, but he's expected to fight it. And the world will be watching, since this all comes at an especially difficult time. As you know, Israel recently fought an 11-day war against Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. It's also dealing with mob violence between Jews and Arabs who live in Israel. And through it all, Israel is still one of the most powerful countries in the Middle East, and the U.S. considers it one of its most important allies. NASA is going back to Venus for the first time in more than 30 years. The agency is planning 2 missions for the end of this decade. Robots will map Venus's surface, explore whether there are active volcanoes there, and figure out if Venus ever had oceans. Venus is Earth's closest neighbor. The planet is sometimes described as Earth's twin because it's about the same size and mass. But most of the similarities end there. Unlike Earth, the atmosphere on Venus is made of carbon dioxide, and temperatures at the surface reach a scorching 900 degrees Fahrenheit. So scientists want to know how Venus turned into such a fiery place and whether it was ever able to sustain life. Much more still ahead, but first, your main host, Erica Mandy, explains why she loves our sponsor, HelloFresh.
Erica here. Especially as my husband and I take on the responsibility of a newborn, we are looking for all the ways we can still enjoy each other's company without any added stress. And that's why I love that HelloFresh takes the guesswork out of dinner and gives my husband and I the time and materials needed to enjoy the process of cooking and eating together. We can do that without meal planning, without extra grocery runs, or without standing in the kitchen for hours. HelloFresh, which is America's #1 meal kit, by the way, offers a wide variety of easy, delicious options. And once you choose the kind of meals you want, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients along with seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. So it's easy, it's convenient, and yet you get these amazing, impressive home-cooked meals for yourself and your family. Think figgy balsamic pork with roasted carrots and thyme potatoes, or pecan-crusted chicken with honey mustard sauce and lemony apple salad. And right now, you can get 12 free meals, including free shipping, when you go to HelloFresh.com/newsworthy12 and use code newsworthy12. Again, go to HelloFresh.com/newsworthy12 and use that code newsworthy12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping.
Business leaders are taking steps to address a global shortage of semiconductor chips. There are now plans for at least 3 new chip plants in Arizona. This week, a manufacturing company out of Taiwan started construction on a $12 billion factory in Phoenix. And already, Intel announced plans to build 2 more new plants in the same area at the tune of $20 billion. They're expected to create 3,000 permanent jobs. It all comes as the world deals with a shortage that's affected all kinds of industries, especially tech and auto. Intel's CEO says it could take several years for the shortage to be resolved. The largest movie theater chain in the world is having a heyday on Wall Street. Shares of AMC Entertainment have been surging recently, and this week, stock prices nearly doubled again. In fact, Reuters says short sellers who bet against AMC lost nearly $3 billion yesterday alone. The popular Reddit board called Wall Street Bets is behind this latest rally. That's the same online community best known for boosting GameStop earlier this year. Well, now AMC is benefiting the most. So the company is launching a new program called AMC Investor Connect. It will reward people who hold stock in AMC with free popcorn at theaters, screening invitations for new movies, and special discounts. The most winning coach in college basketball history is stepping down. Duke's head coach, Mike Krzyzewski, better known as Coach K, will retire after next season. He's been at Duke for more than 40 years. Coach K's record includes more than 1,100 wins, 5 national titles, 8 National Coach of the Year awards, and he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame twice. In announcing his retirement, Coach K said it had been a blessing to coach some of the greatest players in the game. After next season, Coach K will hand over the reins to his associate head coach, Jon Scheyer. Scheyer played under Coach K and was the captain of the 2010 National Championship team. He's also been coaching at Duke for nearly a decade. By the way, Coach K's retirement announcement came just 2 months after another college basketball Hall of Famer announced his retirement. Coach Roy Williams is leaving UNC Chapel Hill, and his assistant coach is also getting promoted to the top job. Another Bachelor show is happening without the longtime host. Chris Harrison will reportedly not return for the next season of Bachelor in Paradise. Variety reports ABC plans to have multiple celebrity guest hosts instead, and they're set to include actor and comedian David Spade. Bachelor in Paradise is slated to start production next week and debut on ABC in August. But Harrison has been on the sidelines since February. You may remember he stirred up controversy for how he defended Bachelor contestant Rachel Kirkconnell. She faced backlash after pictures surfaced online showing her at an antebellum plantation-themed party in 2018. Then Harrison tried defending Kirkconnell by saying people may not have known a few years ago that it was inappropriate to go to an event like that. He has since apologized and said he made a mistake, but Harrison has been absent from the franchise ever since, and it's unclear if or when he'll ever be back. Harrison's not hosting the new season of The Bachelorette either, which debuts next week. Former Bachelorettes Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow will be hosting that one. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. And today, we're talking about the start of Pride Month and the history behind it. But first, Erica is back with today's sponsor, Noom.
If you ever feel lost with all the different information and misconceptions out there about health and habits, Noom works to simplify things and help you turn your personal health goals and aspirations into reality. And not just for the month, Noom uses psychology and education to help you stick with it in the long term. Noom's cognitive behavioral approach is meant to help you build habits without an unrealistic, rigorous plan or unforgiving lifestyle. You set your goals and Noom helps you get there. And Noom knows you're busy and doesn't expect to dominate your life. It expects just 10 minutes a day of your time. And there's no bad food. It's more about understanding cravings, helping you eat and feel better, and knowing how to shop. There's also easy food logging and a way to chart your progress for your own healthier habits. You can sign up for your trial today at Noom, Noom.com/newsworthy. Again, sign up for your trial at Noom, Noom.com/newsworthy. Noom wants you to know there's a science to getting healthier. So go to Noom.com/newsworthy.
Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. Pride Month has begun here in the United States. It's a month-long celebration to show support for the LGBTQ community. It's also meant to recognize activists who have fought for equality under the law. People traditionally mark Pride Month with parades, races, memorials, concerts, workshops, and more. And they often fly the rainbow flag, meant to reflect the many groups within the LGBTQ community. So why do we celebrate in June? It has to do with a police raid on a New York City gay bar on June 28, 1969, called the Stonewall Inn. This happened on a regular basis back then. But on this night, the bar patrons resisted arrest, and witnesses threw things at police. This touched off 3 days of riots in the city, and the event has long been considered the start of the American gay rights movement. The first gay pride marches began the following year. This year, there will be a mix of in-person and virtual celebrations in places like New York City, Boston, Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago, and Seattle. And that's your Thing to Know today. Thank you for tuning in today, and don't forget, we offer ad-free episodes if you sign up as a Newsworthy Insider. Go to thenewsworthy.com/insider to learn more. We'll be back tomorrow with more news. Until then, have a great day.